NBA playoffs start April 16th, and with the play-in games, there are now 20 teams vying for the NBA championship. The 2022 playoffs give you up to 9 weeks of action, with game number 1 of the NBA Finals not even tipping off until June 2nd. Last year, the NBA playoff package was listed for $249, but we've made it even better this year by lowering the entire 9-week playoff package to $199. While the early bird catches the worm may be a cliche, but it holds true to this incredible offer. The first 99 customers can use the coupon code FIRST99 and save an additional $50 off the playoff package, dropping the price down to $149. That's right, 9 weeks of NBA action for $149. That's under $17 per week. Act fast to use code FIRST99, as only the first 99 customers can use this code.
Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome in right here to WagerTalk TV. You're watching Puck Time. Just Carmine and I today here. We've got some great games to break down though. 4 games in fact. And of course, best bets at the end. Don't forget, we also have that 6 in 60 segment with Carmine and Bianco. So stick around for the end of the show. Great look ahead to some of the Saturday games as well. Guys, it is a jam-packed time to be a sports fan with the Masters, with MLB back, with the NBA playoffs coming, NHL playoffs coming. Make sure you take advantage of all the great specials going on right now at WagerTalk.com. You can also go to my profile page, Carmine's profile page, or any NHL handicappers page and get the rest of the season, including playoffs, for $250. But Carm, happy Friday to you, my man. How's it going?
Happy Friday, man. It's going good. 2-1 NHL on the 3-pack last night, and then 2-1 with some in-game period plays as well too for clients. Those ones can only go to clients because you only get about 15 or 20 minutes to play those ones. So 4-2 day NHL. But you're still on fire, my friend. 19 straight all sports wagers, 15 in the NHL. You got to give credit where credit is due. So instead of talking about myself, we're going to talk about you, man. Fantastic run. You really want that trip to Toronto, don't you? I'm already looking at flights and possible games for the Blue Jays to get you into town. You got to keep going right through the weekend, man. Great run for you.
I appreciate it a lot, Carm. And hey, you've done enough for me, man. But I do remember you throwing out that challenge if I get to plus 200% bankroll increase. And if I get to that one, maybe then I'll take you up on that one, because that could be a big goal to achieve. But today's games, we're breaking down the Islanders, the Hurricanes, Bruins, Lightning. We've got the Wild and the Blues. And of course, our last game with the Avalanche. Any game with the Avalanche involves always a fun one to watch. The Avalanche taking on Winnipeg. The Jets inside Winnipeg, Manitoba. Carm, I just want to get your thoughts here, just kind of on the card last night, and then just tell folks at home really what you have up for grabs for tonight and heading into the weekend. We often wait until the end of the show or midway point, but I just want you to get the opportunity to tell people what you have up for grabs for your clients tonight.
Yeah, first off, on yesterday's show, I think all our takes were really good. We talk about the bad ones. We got to talk about the good ones as well. Brian and I think you liked as well too, Philadelphia getting plus money in that spot at Columbus, and they got the job done. Rangers getting the win against the Pens. Rangers are a very good team, and they've got a chance to win that Metro. And you look at some of the other games, and that Leaf game was a phenomenal game. Both teams, the Stars didn't get a lot of shots on goal, but they did what they had to when they got shots on goal, and they were scoring, got that game to OT. But give credit where credit is due. Austin Matthews, that game-winning goal, it just looked like something that I've seen McDavid do a few times, where he just literally goes right around the defense, corkscrews a defender into the ice, and then comes across the goalie and scores. A big win for the Leafs there in that spot. And then some good games, late games. I like the Oilers. I gave them out on the show yesterday. They get the job done against the Kings. And the Calgary Flames continue to win. So it was a lot of good games last night. Carolina, They came back to beat the Sabres. I had them both the total and the puck line. They're playing extremely well. They're playing again tonight, and we're going to talk about that game, I think, first up, Andrew.
Yeah, that game was unbelievable, and that was my puck time best bet. And I'm not going to lie, Carm, I tweeted out in the first period, "Hey, Carolina, are you okay?" And then in the third period, I put that Undertaker gif of him just waking up out of the dead because Carolina never gives up, and they played right until the end. So it was a great night of plays from puck time yesterday. Great stuff there with Brian. Always fun having him on the show. And speaking of Brian, he does have a 5% play going off tonight in the NHL. You guys at home can use the promo code BL15. Take $15 off Brian's 5% play. Somebody else also has a 5% play in the NHL tonight. That is the Prez. So it's a small slate of games tonight, but also 2 5% plays going off from WagerTalk handicappers on the ice. That's Prez and Brian. Check them out over at WagerTalk.com. Our very first game we'll jump into. Let's get into it. The first one, Carm mentioned it. We got the Carolina Hurricanes in action once again in a back-to-back scenario here. Minus 180 at home in Carolina. Of course, New York, plus 150 on the road. Total is at 5.5 in this one. You know, there's so many different ways you can look at this game, Carm. So many different angles and narratives, I guess, kind of like what we spoke about with Prez on Wednesday. But, you know, one thing I look at is Rod Brind'Amour, the type of coach that he is for the Carolina Hurricanes. You know, I'm a little bit too young to have kind of watched him throughout his career, but I know he's a tough guy, and he's also a tough coach. Someone that I can count on during the intermissions to give good instructions and kind of give it to his team to tell them to wake up. And it seems like he did that yesterday. But I also take him as the kind of coach, Carm, to not be happy even in a win like that. You know, even in that comeback win, even though that puck line cash for both of us, I still don't think, you know, Brind'Amour is going to be pleased with that effort he saw yesterday against the Sabres. Having said that, they did only give up like something like 21 or 22 shots, and Antti Raanta was in nets and not Frederik Andersen, which is a huge difference heading into tonight's game. Saying all of this, Carolina clinches the playoffs, but right now that division is incredibly close. I mean, it's not about who's going to make the playoffs anymore. It's about who are you going to play in the playoffs and what position are you going to finish in. As far as the Islanders goes, you and I declared them as bet on teams, but I don't think they're bet on teams against the elites like Carolina. I think we're getting a reasonable price here on Carolina in regulation. Also, wouldn't talk anybody off that -1 play with Carolina tonight. I think they come out hungry. I don't think they lack any hunger. And I think one of the biggest reasons I like this play, Carm, is because Antti Raanta was last night and Freddie Andersen is tonight for the Hurricanes. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. I think the fact that Raanta started tonight, I think going into yesterday, I think that was always going to be the plan. Start Raanta, your number 2 against the Sabres, and then start Andersen against the Isles, which is probably be the tougher of the 2 games. He wasn't really sharp yesterday, but the final analytical numbers were in Carolina's favor. As you said, they only allowed 21 shots on a goal, but the Sabres are that type of team, and we've seen it, and I talked about it, that they're just going out there and they're freewheeling. I think going into last night's game, they were like 9-4-3, something like that. Their last 16 games, they're winning games. They're just playing well. And they gave this Canes team's fits, but as you said, Brind'Amour, whatever adjustments he made, this team played much better. They got going, and the minute they made it 3-2, you could feel they were going to get the equalizer and eventually go on and win this game. They did, and I think that bodes well. They got that team out of the way. They get a team that aren't scoring a lot of goals in the Isle, so you can look at that. At possibly that -1 or the -1.5, and you get plus money. I'm going to have this as the show best bet. I'm going to play it a little differently in the show best bet, but I agree with you on the regulation line here. I think they got past those couple of games with the Sabres, the one against Minnesota, and they still have the possibility of winning the East. They're, I think, 4 points back of Florida. have played a game more than Florida, so they have 11 left. Florida has 12, and the Panthers aren't losing a lot of games, but they still have a very good chance with a favorable schedule to close out. And then they're still battling the Rangers, so I don't think they're taking any nights off. They're only 2 points up on the Rangers in the Metropolitan. They're not going to take any nights off. And with the Islanders losing that game to Dallas, they offered no offense whatsoever. That final score was 3-2. I think, like I said, after 2 periods, they only had like 10 shots on goal. You're not going to win a lot of games in the NHL when you only get 10 shots through 2 periods of play. And against a better defensive team in the Canes, I don't see them getting much here. So it's the Canes for me tonight. And you can play them a couple different ways, as we mentioned. I'm not usually big on taking a puck line against the New York Islanders just because they play a much more defensive game, but that's probably one way to look here if you want to get plus money and not lay a big number on the Canes.
Absolutely. The puck line is a great price there, and right there with you on everything you said there. And a big thing is motivation at this time of year. And a lot of people are kind of thinking that, well, they just made the playoffs. They clinched the playoffs. Could it be a letdown spot? But just like you talked about, becoming the first, getting first place, you know, who you're going to play in the playoffs. There's so many different factors that go into whether or not a team is motivated. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I liked Vancouver yesterday, was that, you know, they beat Vegas. It was a big game for them. And you go into the Coyotes known for giving up plenty of goals. And albeit it's going to be a really hard task for Vancouver, after that win against Vegas, their motivation is high. They still think they can make the playoffs somehow. So until that goes away, you know, they could be a bet-on team. And I think that we're seeing that here with the Hurricanes. Everybody kind of has their own reasons as to why they're motivated for a certain situation or a certain purpose. But great stuff there with that game. Our next one we're diving into, let's talk about this one, a real good one here in the East. The Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning minus 160 now, Carm. Boston plus 135, total at 6 in this one. Tampa's record last 10 games, 4-6, giving up several goals in a lot of those contests here. And the Bees, well, they're playing better hockey, Carm. I mean, they've only lost 3 in their last 10 games, and that last one was kind of a letdown against Detroit. But other than that, they've kind of showed up to the contest here. This one smells a little fishy to me because I kind of want Tampa, but I don't really know why because they haven't really proven it to me over the last 3 games. I don't trust their defense right now, and even Vasilevsky isn't really playing to his level. I lean towards the over in the first period here. I feel like we're going to get some goals early in this contest. We've seen a lot of competitive games from the Boston Bruins lately with a lot of fast starts. And with Tampa Bay, like I mentioned, for how talented their decor is, they haven't really showed up to play right now. And I don't know if it's because they're just kind of relaxing until the playoffs or what's going on, but after 3 straight losses for that team, I expect a hungry first period. So I'm off the full game. I'm off the full game side. I look the first period over 1.5 goals. What are your thoughts here, Carm?
Yeah, don't look now, but, you know, Tampa, who was solidly in that second spot in the Atlantic, are now sitting right behind Boston. They're equal on points, but they're behind on the tiebreaker. So they're essentially in that wild card spot right now, and that's a you know, we talked about over the past week or so how Tampa usually finishes off their season. I think I mentioned 2 years ago, 10-9 their last month of the season, and 9-9 last year. They still went on to obviously win the cup in both years. I'm not motivated whatsoever to lay $1.60 on Tampa, even though I think they win tonight. I just don't want to lay that price because I don't know what their mental mindset is right now. And there's no way I'm going to figure it out. I just want to see how they continue to play out the season. But yeah, 3 straight losses. After a good run of unders for this team, and they were playing well, their last 5 games have gone over the total. And there's quite a few goals in those games. And you talk about the Bruins, and the Bruins are scoring goals. They played a game in which they lost to the Detroit Red Wings. They held all the final analytical numbers. Detroit somehow won that game after trailing 2-0 in that game, scored 5 of the next 6 goals and win 5-3. I think we see some goals tonight as well, Andrew, and that's probably where I'm going to go here. I may look at the first period over and the full game total. That's probably where I'd lean. I can't take the Bruins unless I get a much better price on them, and getting like 135 or 140 isn't what I want against in Tampa Bay against a Tampa Bay team. But I'm on the other side of that coin. I'm not laying $1.60 with Tampa Bay, even though I like the team. They're still not the same team they were the last couple years, of course, but I just don't know what their mental mindset is, and I'm not the type of person to try and figure that out. So I'm just going to watch them over the next couple of weeks and see what they do, and just look for a spot where I can either take them or fade them, but I'm not touching them tonight. So I'll go with the over here as well.
Awesome stuff. Carmine, looking for some goals in this one, Boston and Tampa Bay. And exactly. I mean, that's really the point, Carm, is like, we both like this team, but what have they done recently to prove to us that they deserve our money? And they really haven't done much, and they've been unreliable defensively. Haven't been a team that you'd want to back, especially at these prices, but I also don't really want to fade them because I know they're going to be ready to go here, especially at home. That's kind of been the weirdest part to me about this minor slump, is how great of a team they usually are on home ice too. There hasn't been much of a travel spot, back-to-backs, 3 and 4. It's just been sloppy hockey from the Tampa Bay Lightning, playing teams that just seem to have wanted it more. We'll see what happens tonight, but Carmen and I looking towards some goals. Once again, guys, that promo going on right now, you're saving $20. I believe it potentially could be more than that, but $250. The rest of the NHL, that includes every single playoff release. That regular season promo, you might as well not use that one anymore. It's NHL 199, but I mean, it's $199 for the rest of the regular season, or $250 for the rest of the regular season plus playoffs. So you pick kind of what makes the most sense, but I think it's quite obvious that the full season plus playoffs for $250 makes a bit more sense. Obviously, you're just paying $50 then for the playoff package, which is a lot cheaper than it will be completely. So make sure you guys check that out. If you're buying daily picks all the time, best way to go about it is just buying that longer term package. You're going to get series wagers, any new future wagers that get released, full season plus playoffs, $250. Carm, let's go into our next game here. We've got the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues. Definitely a rivalry that's been built between these two teams last several years here. Two rock solid teams that are playing very well right now. It's a pick a matchup for a reason here. Totals at 6. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you know what, Andrew, this is actually of the games that are on tonight, this is probably the one, surprisingly, that I like the most in this one. And I like Minnesota. They played what was quite possibly one of their most undisciplined games I've seen them play in a long time against Nashville Predators. That game had there must have been some bad blood between these teams, because there was 3 fights in the first 13 minutes of this game. And then they just continued to take penalties, uncharacteristic of this team, and they paid for it. Nashville scored 3 power play goals and then got a 4th just a few seconds after that, after the penalty expired. So you look at that final score, 6-2, an empty netter in there as well too. Specialty teams was a big part of that game, and I'm looking for them to bounce back. The Blues have already played. This will be their 5th game for the Blues in April already, playing on the 1st, the 2nd, the 4th, and the 6th. So they're essentially 5 games in 8 games in 8 days thus far in April. And that takes a toll when you get into late into the second half of the season. You look at the Wild, they haven't played in a couple days. It's Talbot in goal tonight, confirmed. And when you look at it and you say, well, I don't want Talbot, I'd rather have Fleury. Listen, Talbot was a number 1 for this team all season and is now in that number 2 role. He doesn't have the weight of the team on his shoulders anymore. And March and April have been fantastic for Talbot in goal. He's 9-1-1 his last over those 2 months, and 9-1 just his last 10 starts in goal. That isn't your typical number 2 goalie, guys. So don't look at the fact that Talbot's in goal and it's not Marc-Andre Fleury. to discourage you off this play. They're about even money. I think that you either grab the even money now because that this is probably going to be a coin flip odds wise. They'll probably be about minus 110 both ways at some point here. I'm going to see some some Minnesota money coming in. I have to believe, but give me Minnesota here in this spot. I'm going to take them at even money.
And Carmen, you and I have spoken about that over the past, I'd say really a week and a half, just, personally on the phone and different things about the goaltending situations, the odds for it, and kind of just how people perceive their wager. And I feel like it's a lot more drastic to some people than it really should be. Even with the Rangers,
Yeah.
I've released a few plays recently with Alexander Georgiev in between the pipes. I got about 20 DMs on Twitter saying, well, what about Shesterkin? He's not in net. I mean, how are you betting on the Rangers? I'm like, dude, they're still a good team. And
Yeah.
also the odds makers are reflecting this. It's kind of like betting on a great baseball team with a subpar pitcher. You're still getting a good team. You need an average effort out of that pitcher. Same thing with the Penguins. When Casey DeSmith is in nets, you're not getting the same odds you'd get if Tristan Jarry was out there, but he's still a good goaltender. He just might not be on the same level as the other guy. And you make a great point there. Everybody wants Marc-Andre Fleury now, right?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and we've seen it. This year probably isn't as bad as last season or even the previous season as far as backups go, where in a lot of spots you saw a backup in net and you just wanted to bet against the team no matter who they were playing. You look at some of the teams, and I'll probably miss a few, but you look at the Calgary Flames, and I'm perfectly happy with if it's not Markstrom, Vidar being in goal. He's played well. It's not like he gets shelled, and he's getting wins. Colorado, you look at Colorado, and if it's Francouz in goal, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of his when he's in goal. But you look at some of the goaltending tandems, and sometimes you just don't want to be on the team. Georgiev is a good one. He's played well. You look at the Isles. I'd rather have Sorokin in goal, and I'll tell you right now, this is looking ahead to next year. But Sorokin is a very good goalie, Andrew. I'm telling you, he's underrated by a lot of people. He had a very good season in a bad season for the Islanders, and coming back next season with him in goal, he's one of those ones where if I get the big enough price next year, I'll look at the Vezina Trophy odds on him because he's right there. You're going to call me crazy. He's right there with Shesterkin as far as top Russian goalies in this league. So with that said, getting back, because I went off on a tangent here, number two goalies aren't always a play against, and Talbot was the number one for most of the season before they acquired obviously someone with a lot of playoff experience and a cup in Marc-Andre Fleury. So he's not a bet against just because he's in goal. He's had a fantastic March and April.
Exactly. And he's, Marc-Andre Fleury's kind of stolen the thunder, put Talbot in that shadow, but he's still a great goaltender. Look, it's kind of a simple handicap for me in this one, but two great teams. I like the Wild already, just like yourself, but I love seeing teams when they're off to dominant victories like the St. Louis Blues are against the Seattle Kraken and the Arizona Coyotes. The Wild are off a disappointing loss by several goals here. And I talk about motivation being a thing. Look, I haven't talked to any of the players. I haven't talked to the coach. I don't know who's actually motivated. I'm trying to figure it out. And I think the Minnesota is the most motivated team. They are the more motivated team. And they're a team that will be very prepared. And they have several lines that can contribute and score. And they've added lots of toughness, I think that they're a really physical team as well, which helps them match up well against the St. Louis Blues. So we're both looking at the Wild here in a pick'em contest, minus 110 odds. Give us the Minnesota Wild here on a Friday night here. Last game we're going to break down. Then, of course, best bets and the 6 and 60. Colorado and Winnipeg. Winnipeg plus 155 at home. Colorado minus 185 on the road. Total sits at 6 here in this one. And guys, I'll just say this. The Winnipeg Jets are a team that continue to be the biggest mystery of the league. I was on the show on Wednesday and I stated that I did not think Winnipeg deserved to have the odds they did against the Detroit Red Wings. What happened in that game? I'm not patting myself in the back. I'm not trying to. What I'm trying to tell you is they scored 1 goal when they were above $2 favorites. This is a team that is constantly mispriced, constantly overvalued, and the odds makers haven't really seemed to give up on them now. You have a Colorado team minus 185, a team that's been pretty consistent goal scoring wise. They might get into some back and forth contests here, but against a team like Winnipeg, does that really matter? Can Winnipeg trade goals with them? And how's Winnipeg feeling right now? Are they desperate? Are they defeated? Are they feeling down on themselves? I mean, their playoff hopes are absolutely nothing right now. I mean, there's a sliver of a chance, but I'm not sure it's going to happen here. Having said all of this, I feel like we're going to get everything we possibly can from Winnipeg tonight, which leads me, Carm, to actually liking the over 6 in this one. I don't trust Winnipeg defensively. They don't take care of the puck in their own end. They don't forecheck very well, and they allow teams to get into their end pretty easily. And I think that they're going to get some goals themselves against the Colorado team that might look at this game as, hey, not against a real tough team. Could take it lightly out the gate. Could see some sloppiness from them as well. I'm on the over, Carm, over 6. It's kind of where I'm leaning here. Don't love it, but I feel like we could see an effort here from both clubs on offense. What about you?
Yeah, from an offensive point, I don't think the Avs are taking any games off. We talked about Tampa and sort of coasting in the second half of the season or in the last 30 days or so, but the Avs aren't taking any days off. They want that President's Trophy, and they're battling. While they have the West pretty much locked up, they do have it locked up in my eyes. They're going to battle Florida to the end of the season for the President's Trophy, and they won it. You look at their 2 games against the Penguins, and they pretty much dominated them in both games. The scorelines don't really show 3-2 and 6-4, but this team continues to win. This is the third game between these teams, but the first game in Winnipeg, and the Jets were completely bombed in both games that were played in Colorado. I think 7-1 and 6-3 in those games. As you said, trying to figure out this Winnipeg team is beyond me. I think at this point, and tonight could be the game that finally tells the Jets that they are done as far as a playoff contender, although at 76 points and 8 back of Dallas for that last spot with a couple teams in between them, I think they know they're done. When we talk about goalies, I feel sorry for Hellebuck. The guy's like 25 and 25. He's got a goals against average under 3, I think at 2.91. He's been a good goalie all season. He's just not getting the support. This team just isn't doing it. So to try and make a case for Winnipeg, I can't do it. Even at this price on the Avs, I'm going to take the Avalanche here in this game. I don't think they take this game lightly. And this is the first of 2 for the over the next 2 days for this Avs team, and they will be part of my 6 and 60, which is coming up shortly. So give me the Avs tonight.
Awesome stuff, Carm. Looking towards the Avalanche and what I think is actually a cheap price here on them against the Winnipeg Jets, a team that's, trying to finish out that season strong, but they have put forward some weak efforts off an upset loss versus the Detroit Red Wings. Johnny Detroit, season ticket holder, I believe he was there with the family. He saw a good game there, Carm. I mean, he's going to see some good upsets over the next few years in a team that's growing. Lots of great younger players on that team. Might be 5 or 6 years until they're actually contenders or a playoff team. But Detroit's rolling, man. They're turning into a pretty good team. So that was a good victory for them. But let's not waste any time. Very popular segment. Coming up, all the games on Saturday. Remember, guys, these games here, 6 and 60 with Carmine. I'll hand it over to you, Carm.
All right, let's get that clock going. Dallas and New Jersey Stars off on an OT loss to Toronto, and the Devils have lost 9 straight on the road. Saturday makes number 10. We're going to take Dallas in regulation time. Pittsburgh and Washington. Pens are home and happy to see someone other than the Rangers and the Avalanche. We're going to take Pittsburgh minus 140 in this spot. Edmonton and Colorado. Oilers 12-2-1 their last 15 and get the Avs on the second of a back-to-back and likely Francouz in goal. We're going to take Edmonton at a small plus money here. St. Louis and the Islanders, both teams in the second of a back-to-back. This season, the under has hit 68% of the time with these two teams in similar spots. So we're going to take the under 5.5. Vancouver and San Jose. Canucks, 2 straight wins to drag them back into the a wild card race. Sharks losers of 5 straight and 2 of their last 10. They're 2-8. Their last 10 on the road. Take Vancouver here. Vegas and Arizona Coyotes 2-8. Their last 10. 7 of those 8 losses have been by 2 or more goals. Big game for Vegas off a loss. We're going to take Vegas minus 1.5. That's your 6 in 60 segment.
6 in 60 at the buzzer. The basket is good. Use a little basketball reference. Great stuff there, Carm.
Yeah. I'm going to add something. So last week's 6 in 60 was absolute trash. It's only the 3rd time all season that I've been doing the 6 in 60 where we had a losing record. So we need to bounce back. But if you follow me on Twitter, I am going to put a contest up for tomorrow because I will be at the Toronto-Montreal game tomorrow night. I'm trying to find a Montreal jersey to wear to that game. I will put a contest up for a swag pack, a mug and a T-shirt similar to the one that I'm wearing right now with the Puck Time logo on it. And all you'll have to do is predict how many of the 6 in 60 I'm going to get correct. And guys, I have no problem with you guys. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you say you're going to go 0 in 6 or 1 in 5. Listen, it's a contest. Try and win it. But I'm going to tie in the 6 in 60 with the Montreal game. A couple prop bets on that game. Pick all 3 right, and I'll draw one winner who gets all 3 right to win a prize pack. So follow me on Twitter at Carmine Bianco WT to win that. And let's see if we can get a winning 6 in 60 this time around, Andrew.
I like that. Put the pressure on the viewers. Make them guess how many you'll get right. Always love those contests you run. So tomorrow, be on the lookout for that with Carm. The Montreal versus Toronto game. Always a great game. Carm running a contest there. And make sure you, of course, make your picks with the 6 in 60 segment. Let's jump into best bets. And I'll start off here with the best bets today. First of all, guys, just one play of the day. As far as NHL goes, low volume has been working for me, so I'll continue to rock with that. 15-0 run here with the NHL, 19 straight all-sport victories. One best bet, 4% play available to grab at WagerTalk.com. Remind you guys that full season plus playoffs, $250 as well. You can use that. My best bet's going to be the over 1.5 in the first period involving the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay has looked very sloppy lately. Their defense has not been what it usually is. They're getting caught pinching up too much. Like I said, their back checking hasn't been very good. I just don't really trust them to come out to a hot start defensively. What I do trust, though, is a very competitive game out the gate with plenty of chances with 2 talented rosters. 2 teams that want to finish off their season strong. Boston been playing pretty good hockey, and the Stars are coming out to play right now. Give me the first period over 1.5 Bruins and Lightning. Carm, over to you, man. What do you have up for this weekend, and what's going on for you tonight for your best bet?
Yeah, so it is a busy weekend. 3 games up tonight in the NHL. A couple soccer games this afternoon. My soccer cards are already up for the weekend. There's a 5% play going on Sunday, and I have an NHL 5% play loaded for Saturday night. So you can grab a 3-day all access, and you're going to get all plays Friday through Sunday. Or if you just want the NHL play tomorrow night, you can use the code CB15. So that's CB15 and get $15 off that 5% NHL play tomorrow night. As far as my show best bet, we're going to go back to that first game that we discussed, the New York Islanders and the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to take the first period in this game on Carolina on the handicap line. So laying a half a goal, and you're getting plus 150 here. After these last couple of games, I think Brindamore's got this team back to where they should be. I'm looking for a much better start for them because they had a couple slow starts in the last couple of games. But that win was a big one for them yesterday. And the Isles had a horrible start in Dallas. They looked like they weren't in the game until the third period when it was too late. So I'm just going to look for Carolina to come out big at home in the first period, and we're going to take -0.5 plus 150 as your show best bet.
Carolina -0.5 first period. Great price on that as well. Carmine Bianco for his best bet. Guys, I forgot to mention, I'll also have some UFC action up for this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. And of course, Carm and I are both involved in the Major League Baseball action. Of course, that's a daily sport. You can grab all that stuff from us at WagerTalk.com or grab a 3-day pass. Get Carm and I for 3 days. He's involved in plenty of sports, as am I. Avoid just the 1-day fee. Grab 3 days, get a better price, get more picks. Recap with the power plays. Again, Carm has Carolina in the first period, -0.5 at plus 150. I have Boston, Tampa Bay, first period, over 1.5 goals at -130. Guys, I just want to thank you all for watching every single day, all the great comments. As much as I don't get back to all the comments and don't read them all during the show as much, I do see them. I do see your guys' live comments and, of course, the comments afterwards. If I can ask you one thing, please, if you're watching this, like the video on YouTube, leave a comment on Apple or Google, Spotify. Let us know you're enjoying the content. We really do appreciate it. But on behalf of Carmine Bianco, our producer, Joe, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you guys on Monday.
Baseball is back, and we want to celebrate by slashing the cost of any daily picks packages. That includes a baseball play by 50%, including 5% best bets. This amazing promotion runs from Thursday, April 7th, when 18 of the 30 MLB teams take part in opening day, to midnight on Wednesday, April 13th, and you can get $25 daily packages for $12.50, $29 daily combo packages for $14.50, $35 5% best bets for $17.50, and $39 5% best bet combo packages for $19.50. Whether you never bet on MLB or just like discounts, save 50% on baseball picks for the entire first week of the baseball regular season.